Whoa, it's Wulzy. Welcome to the first decoration episode of my new Extreme Demon. Good lord, this is gonna be an adventure, and I don't really know where to start with this commentary. As you can see, there's a little bit of spikage down here, because I've already ran through the next stage of playtesting, which I'll slot at the end of this video with a new special guest. Thank you so much for the continued support on this series. It's been insane. The road to 100k is real. Let's run it. I'm not clipping. This is the gameplay that we made in the beginning of this level. I think I'm gonna decorate to this point, or at least get the very basics down. I have some ideas, and that's gonna involve restructuring a lot of this to be a lot more closely knit instead of being just floating out in the open. I think my strategy for structuring is gonna be to just line the bottoms of some of these objects. It's definitely gonna take a lot of time to perfect, but once I've done that, I'll be able to mini space these away like so and leave a little gap between. Okay, I think that's as far as I'm gonna go for now. So there's the core gameplay, right? And then we have our other structures around the outside. I've noticed that this one is a lot different to the rest in how it's made, so I'm gonna make sure it conforms to the trend, kind of sticking out to the side and having an extra spike, you know? Then we go on the next editor layer and we do a little bit of scale hacking with these square objects, and we're gonna try and mask with as few objects as possible. I'm not really willing to scale past 5, but I bet that on B4, something pretty high on the Z order, like 20 or something, with don't fade, don't enter, and a background colored color, which is going to be number 2, like that. We can thread a little bit of background color in and start covering up huge areas in between these little objects. And we are going to have to stack them up at times just to fill in the little mini blocks that we've added, but that's just going to come with the nature of this gameplay. But just think we're covering like a 25 block area with one object. So if I use this block down here as an example, this structure has the background visible behind it, and then everything past it is just all gonna be that block color instead of whatever I'm putting behind. I've managed to cover all of this space in green with 66 objects. I'm not gonna get too wound up about how optimized it is, because that's just gonna make the whole creating process unfun, and there's probably always gonna be a way to optimize it even further, but I think it's a pretty nice mindset to have in general. Now what you just saw is me setting up a move trigger to extend some of this masking back a bit, so hopefully if I die, well, I'm in no clip. If I die, you see on the left that it's almost full, so I can fade the background on right here. I can fade it on much earlier than I would have if it was just cut like that. While I'm doing the nitty-gritty stuff, I do want to address that I am fully aware that this level is never going to be the best level of all time, and I don't want it to be. My goodness, that is all the masking done. We have covered up every area in between our substructures, and how many objects did it take? 151! That is not bad. I am gonna be picky though. I am gonna use scale hack and fill up this area. That's goofy as hell. Good thing it's gonna be invisible, and good thing I'm doing it off camera and not right now. I'll do it after the recording. Now I gotta pick some colors. Now I want this intro to be like a dark turquoisey thing. We're gonna use the HSV slider for sure. We can make this a bit more blue. We gotta set up some pulses as well. The fade time is gonna be something like 0.1 and 0.5. We're also gonna use the HSV slider for this. There we go. And then on the kick of the song, we can make this maybe a light green. Using the Pringles for motivation right now. Okay, so now, underneath the level, I'm going to be putting a little backdrop. I've used background for pulses, which is fine, really. This doesn't use too many objects to create. Just a little black screen underneath the level that's going to be locked to the x-axis. There we go. So we have a bunch of black blocks that move along with me, and we're going to add a little overlay to that now, using the same color that this mask uses. So I've got a 3D line that's scaled to 5 times. I'm going to extend this up and down, and there's going to be a line every 2.5 blocks. These objects are going to be on group number 14 and have their own unique group 15. There's going to be a corner piece. It's going to have its own unique group 16, and this is going to be invisible on group 1. Then I'll set up a rotation right here for 15 around the center, and that's going to put a bunch of rotating lines inside the black space right there. And we can easily stack up onto this by giving this a new group 17 and having separate opacities and stuff. I'm going to set group 17 to 90% opacity, then copy this rotation trigger for 17 take away that 360-degree rotation and put something like 300, it makes a pretty strange pattern when it's all rotating together. I'm going to add a bunch more layers to it right now. I'm also going to try changing the direction of some of these to opposites, and that also looks pretty cool, so I'm pretty conflicted on what to do here. Maybe I could rotate them to like this degree right here. Maybe if I set one down for 15 to start off with that moves at 30 degrees, 1 second or so with ease in out, and have that be offset between each layer by like 2 blocks or so, something like that. So these kind of wobble back and forth instead. Then maybe we can have a 180-degree rotation while we're transitioning into the next ball. That's trippy. I love it. Testing out some movement, and I'm also going to try out some 0-second rotations, which is quite risky. That looks good. All right, I'm going to think about some block design. Color channel number 1 is going to copy the object line, and I think I'm going to make that black. I'm not sure. To match the vibe of the lines in the background, we need to have a little black base of this block, so it kind of matches the other part. And then on top, we can have a little line of these that can be background blending, I think. On B2, there we go. So they're like inside the block, and we can change the hue of these to like minus 40, 50-ish, just until it matches the rest of the level and looks good in a pulse. There you go. You see the green kind of pops out. I'm going to create a spawn loop for that object and group 26. Okay, so this is going to be moved up by 3/10 of a full block in 0 seconds. This trigger is going to have group 27. Then we copy paste, move it along by 1, and we will have the next movement in the sequence, which I'm going to make -2. This trigger will have the next fray group assigned to it, so we have both of these that target 26, but they have 27, 28, and the final one in the sequence is going to have 29, and that's going to move -1 on the Y. So we have 27, 28, and 29, and this is going to be mirrored by some spawn triggers that spawn the next column's group number. So 27 right here, this spawn trigger is spawning 28, the next column, which is going to spawn 29. Just got to make sure the spawn trigger has that column's group, and then this one has no next trigger to spawn. Oh no. Yes, it's on group 29, but the actual number that it's going to spawn is not 30, because there is no 30. It's going to be 27, because I want this to loop over itself, so that this column is spawning this column, which is spawning this column, which is spawning this column. So it's a constant loop over and over again. And to start the loop, all we need to do is spawn 27, which is the first group in the loop. We're going to set all of these spawn triggers to have a delay of 0.1. They require a delay to work. This set right here is going to be given spawn triggered and multi-triggered. And the reason for that is so that these triggers don't happen unless they're actually spawned in. And you'll see that with just 3 move triggers, if I save and play now, this line will be glitching up and down that block. Just changing all of these structures to have their proper outline so that the line on the inside of this block is cut off properly at the edges. Ooh, that looks pretty nice, honestly. Although I must say, what I could do is set some of the lines to different groups, like this one. We'll put that on group 30, and we can make a copy of this spawn loop, and I think build helper, is that how it works? And change the move trigger to 30, so that once I change the values in these move triggers, there we go. There's some lines that move differently. I think to fill in the gaps between some of these objects, I could actually use some text. If I scale it down and get the right text length, I can definitely get some really efficient design. Change of plan, I'm now putting arrows inside the blocks. This is still one text object, and we're using font number 10, which looks pretty cool, and it's kind of underused anyway. If I take this off of blending and put it on color channel 4, that also looks pretty cool. If you've watched the channel before, you'll know this tactic that I'm about to show you. If I lock some T3 blending object on top of the level, gonna make that black blending for a start, but this is gonna permanently move across the whole level. A big screen like this, and I set up a pulse trigger for like a 2 and 2 on that group number 31, and I use the HSV slider. I can give this level a red tint. The cool thing is we can have these objects be on B3 where it's covering every single object, but then also have stuff on B2, say, that stick out on top of it. And as you can see, we can really deal some serious damage with the tinting on this thing, so the opacity is very important to get right. I think 65 might be a good spot to put it at. So what I did was just make it echo the background pulses. So there's a pulse first, and then it goes bright. So now I want to try scaling up a small corner piece on black on B2, which is above the blending screen, and having this could rotate on the edge of a block, maybe followed by a slightly smaller and different group version. I could probably use the same framework as some other spawn loops, starting with 33. We can rotate this by 15 on 0 move time. It's working, but does it look good? Nope. Come to think of it, on the original structures that I put underneath the level, there were spikes here, and I haven't represented them at all because the mask just does not allow that. So instead of these god-awful glow pieces, what if I moved all of these spikes to a new editor layer, say 10, and we gave them groups 35 and 36, and set them to white? That doesn't even look that bad, you know. And I wonder if we could use those same groups for some sword designs. So the left side's 35 and the right side's 36. That's not awful. And to give them a little texture, maybe what we could do is copy paste, flip them, and decrease the layer by 1 and have a black layer behind them. So if I slow-mo, you'll see that they have a little black layer behind, and I think that's cool. And then to kind of bounce off that black and white thing, we can have some of these objects which have the black and white detail. We could definitely make some sort of pattern like this, where these lines appear kind of connected. Then maybe these orbs could have some kind of curve to them. See, that's not a bad start. And then we could scale it inwards. That's a 0.1 decrease, and we move it up a bit. And then once we add some alternating rotations, that looks pretty good. Then I think in the foreground, I'm going to shift 2 slopes together and create a really steep point like that, and create some sort of spike that's going to sit in front of all the blocks. If I link all of that together and put some glow behind it, nice. Okay, we will link this and we will give it a new moving group 38. And as you can see, this is just going to sit in front. We'll give this 39, 40 on this side, and we can move these. They can have different movement types, right? So some of them are going to be ease in out. I think some of them are just going to move the whole time without any difference in speed. And then there we go. I feel much better that some of this space is now covered up by these spikes, you know? But I'm not a fan of how that one is visible right away. That is number 40. So what we do is we move 40 way off in the distance, 10 blocks to the right. And then as the level begins, this can swoop on that distance that we've just moved it. That is so silly, dude. Imagine we die. Okay, no clip. Let me see how it works. No, that's just way too strong. And I wonder how well I can make a sweeping light in this. If I scale up this curve, we've already got a start on it. I would probably have to double back this semicircle right here. And then we need another semicircle on the inside, which is going to have a new color channel in it. The layer behind. And this is going to be a light yellow blending. Not that light, jeez. Then we can have maybe a white blending piece of glow on top. I think with a center point up here, we could rotate this ever so slightly. I'm guessing it's going to rotate about minus 40 degrees. So that's 40 degrees anti-clockwise. That works. I think that's pretty cool. It's like a little night light that guides you. Although I gotta say, I made a spawn loop earlier for some objects around the edge of the level. It's all dark now because of the colors that I've used, but I put these so my playtester wouldn't die when they fell out. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a funny spawn loop so they kind of twinkle. Well, this is actually coming into use. For this glow piece, I'm gonna put it on group number 7, which is gonna flicker it on and off, as you can see. And now I'm gonna build helper some of these movements because they are pretty useful. I also want to try out something for sync that I learned from Overdefo in our level swap. Okay, maybe not that size an object, but if we have a 3D line on its side like this, just as a line, we'll make it white because why not? I'm gonna add this to group number 53, and this is gonna have an elastic movement in out of about a second. And it's gonna take a little bit of trial and error to get this sync working, but hopefully we can get this white line above the whole level like that. That's cool as hell if I can get that to work. I'm gonna link the move trigger and the 3D line together because since it's so scaled up, it's really hard to actually select. You see I'm clicking all over, I can't find it. Okay, now another thing I could do since this whole area of the screen is not used is just put a bunch of clouds. I think I'm gonna be slightly cheeky and reuse a group from the foreground that we've already used. I have 2 clouds right here on that group. There we go. We got 2 clouds already just floating there. Then we can have another with another group 57 that moves slightly differently to the rest. You see back there? Another detail I wanted to add from this light. A little light ray like this that can also share the group number 7. And we can have like a cartoon light ray kind of thing coming off of it. By the way, I'm also going to use that group 7 for some little decoration above some of the spikes. You'll see that I've put them on B3 so that when they are gray and low opacity, they still get tinted by the blending screen that we added ages ago. Anyway, I have built quite a lot in this episode. Foreground, effects, some decoration. This part is not done. Let me redo that. I did that terribly. This part's definitely not done, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments what should be changed, what you like, what you don't like about the decoration, you know, what would you add, stuff like that so I can better suit it. Obviously, the block design needs a lot more attention and stuff like that, but this is the base look of the intro for me. I'm pretty happy with this so far. I'm gonna cut to the playtesting, which I did with EricVanWilderman. Enjoy.
Oh, holy views. Oh, holy views. What is this? Oh, you gotta go down to the very end. Ooh, man,
really?
You gotta dodge that like a boss.
You've already found something that's broken.
Well, am I doing that wrong? That's the only way I can think. What? I'm really bad on like first runs of levels, so you guys are totally gonna see that. This is stuff I cut out of my videos. I will practice a level. First time, like, man, this is gonna take me forever. And then I practice it a second time and I just nail it. Aesthetically, maybe that yellow one should go over a little bit to the right. It would line up with like your expectation as a player. Yeah, I'd say the hardest part is kind of getting up into that one. Funneling the player into a way instead of making them go up and then like go through the tight gap would be better. I don't know why.
It's gonna be interesting.
Oh, what? Wow. Whoa. Ooh, dude, that's rough, man. That's pretty cool, though. That is very abstract, though. Maybe even a creative marker where there's just something that lights up in the background.
Yeah,
where,
for
like,
sure.
You know.
That's a really good suggestion.
Oh, that's so late.
That seems horrible. Yeah, I could definitely just shift that block. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty... yeah, that's pretty challenging, yeah. Especially because you got to get ready for like another challenging part with like a lot of the clicks.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
You want to put an emphasis on the parts where you're double clicking, so maybe some challenge on the parts where you're double clicking is cool, but like parts like leading into those double clicks, you want to make a little bit easier, but maybe the double click itself is okay to be challenging. For an extreme, you might want some gravity changes in the wave parts. The blue jump orb on the ground feels a little far away. Sometimes like I don't touch it, right?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, this needs changed for sure.
That is wild. Like my name, Wilderman.
Hey, nice.
That was cool. The robot was very hard. And the UFO part, like that 4-tap jump, a few of the timings at the beginning for sure. And then the ship part, just having like more of those like funnel corridors. Other than that, man, I think it's pretty good.
Oh my lord, EricVanWilderman likes my level. Okay, we gotta do the nerfs that he suggested and the buffs that he suggested too. I already fixed this corridor, but I gotta see elsewhere where that's gonna be possible. Try and make this more like a corridor rather than a little arc. I do see what he means. It is annoying being able to hit the top and the bottom from the same timing. Yeah, that works so much better. I don't even know why I had it as a yellow in the first place. This ball timing sucks, so I'm nerfing that. Okay, man. I got the gravity change. How's that? I think that's good. Except I wasn't asking myself. Ugh. I forgot about this UFO part, but I think I can fix it just by moving this orb. This robot was too hard, and I think the main problem is this purple. I can probably mini space it like that. It's one of those aesthetic nerfs that Eric was talking about that kind of encourages the player to do it that way. Something about it just doesn't feel fair. Kind of feel like making it a style in this robot that the spikes are dipped off the blocks a little bit. Oh, well, I just did that to the end. Oops. Is it still extreme? Oh, no. We still have much playtesting left, so we can fix it next time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time. Thank you for watching this Geometry Dash building video. Everything's a little bit out of order because I did the playtesting first. I don't even know how the building has went before I've gotten to this point, so... Oh, boy. I hope I did good. Let me know in the comments what you thought. I just unlocked a wave. Get wrecked. Have a good day.